Hi everyone, Abby here. I wanted to focus on this picture on my desktop for this video because to me this picture just sums up life and living, and I think so many of us get stuck in a rut for so long. We get caught up in going to work for an employer and barely breaking even from that, and I think we forget what life is really about, just having fun. I mean, yeah, of course, you've got to be responsible. You've got to provide for yourself, for your family, for your children, and pay your bills and pay your taxes. Of course, that's something that doesn't escape any of us. But I think for so many people, and I can relate to this because I've been in jobs where I've known people who have been in the same job for like 30 years. They're still broke. Like, we just work and work and work and work and work and never really have anything at the end of that. Then we retire on a really crappy income and we've just got nothing to show for it. And just even like going, like, I'm here in Europe, okay, so even just like going to say Spain for a week abroad is kind of a big deal for so many people, and certainly was for me at times in the past. I think we just forget what life is really about, and I wanted to bring awareness to that in this video. There's an entire world out there, and we get so caught up in uh, being slaves in a way. I mean, it's crazy. It's like you work for 50, well, maybe not 50 depending on your age, but probably like 40, 45, maybe even 50 years. And and yeah, you buy a house and you get yourself into debt. You buy a house that you then have to be, you're then forced into working to pay for the house that you had to take out a huge mortgage on or something. And I'm not saying there's absolutely anything wrong with buying a house. I think buying a house is great. Uh, but it's just the whole system. It's just the whole way everything is set up. So you're kind of stuck in this position of slavitude, if you like, servitude, slavitude, whatever you want to call it. But the fact is that your life is not your own. You can't quit your job, because if you did, you'd lose your house. You can't live the good life because your job, I know in some people's circumstances, they're very, very well paid and maybe they get more time off than the average person. But they're kind of stuck in that rut. You can't live the good life because you don't really have the time to do so as well. You're at work, working for an employer for 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day or however many hours a day it is. And you are giving your time to basically make somebody else rich. And if you're going to put in time like that, then put it in to make yourself rich. Put it in to change your life. Put it in for you, so that you can better you and your family, and don't put it in for some employer, some corporation that truly really don't care about you. Life is about living, and we're all in this beautiful planet, and despite whatever problems might be going on in the world at any one time in history, it's a beautiful planet. There's many, many joys to experience and many places to visit and many things that you can do. And just, I don't know, this picture really sums that up for me. Just the joy of that person. You can see they're just leaping in to a cave lagoon. And I don't know, it just really speaks to me, and I wanted to make a video about it because I think it's things like that experiences like that, and as many other experiences as you can think of, is really what it's all about. And the reason so many of us now are transitioning and have transitioned into making money on the internet is because you can absolutely scale it up. Like when you're in a job, you're earning what your boss says you're worth. You're earning what the job description says you're worth. In many cases, that's minimum wage, and you exchange hours for money, and you don't get a lot of money doing that, and yet you're putting in all these hours, and then at the end of the month you're still broke once you've paid your bills, you paid your rent or your mortgage and your taxes and your food and your bills and everything. So many people like putting in all those hours and then they're still broke at the end of it. Whereas when you work online, you can massively scale that up. There are people making insane, and I mean insane amounts of money online. There are people making more in a month online than many people make in a single year, or even 2 years, or even 5 years. It's just crazy. It's crazy. So if you're going to put in those hours, even if you're in a full-time job right now, put in a bit of time outside of that. And yes, you're tired. I get it. You're tired. You get home from work. You're tired. You just want to flake out in front of the TV, etc. I get it. But that's not going to get you out of that rut. It's not going to get you out of that situation. If instead you spend that time and you build something online, and then it gets to a point where there's some real momentum there, then eventually you can leave that job, and suddenly, bam, you've got a whole load of other hours available to you in the day to scale it up and work it even harder. And then in a year or even 2 years, maybe even up to 5 years. I mean, what's 5 years? In 5 years in a job, you're going to be probably in the same situation you're in now, but in 5 years online, putting in the right activity, the right action, and really going for it, you're going to be in an incredibly different situation. And then you can be doing things like this guy in the picture here, who clearly is having a great time. And you can be doing things like that and still making money while you're doing it. That's the incredible thing about it. Like, you can wake up in the morning and you've made money overnight. It's happened for me. It's happened for others. It's happened for so many other people. And to me, that's so much more what life really is about. I think we have been taught that you leave school, you go to college, you bog yourself down with all these qualifications, and then you hopefully can get a job at the end of it. And of course, many people, as we know, don't get a job even after doing all that, because then it comes down to you and how you come across in an interview or whatever. But then you're in that situation for years, decades and decades of your life, and then you're broke at the end of it. I mean, I know I'm here in the UK, okay, and I know pensioners who've worked all their lives, they've put into the system all their lives, they've paid in their taxes and their national insurance contributions, and they can barely even now afford their heating bills, and some are literally freezing to death. I'm not exaggerating when I say that has happened. People have literally frozen to death. And you just think to yourself, wow, it's crazy. These people, they've paid in all their lives. They've worked hard all their lives. They've never really had a huge amount. If they've got a house, then that's wonderful. But there are even many who don't. There are many pensioners who are renting or even in like social housing accommodation. And it's just so terribly sad. And it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. So I don't know. I hope this video is inspiring and has maybe inspired you to make a complete change in your life. It's never ever too late, no matter what age you're at. I see people in this industry in their 20s all the way up to their 70s. And my mother, for instance, she's 76 and she's working online, and she's really seeing some traction and some success, and is making extra money online. So you're never too old. It's never too late. But if you're dissatisfied in your life, which I know so many people out there are, you're dissatisfied in your life, then do something about it. Do something about it. Don't put it off. Don't wait for a better job to come along. Just do something about it and live the life of your dreams. Just imagine getting up in the morning. You haven't got to beat the rush hour traffic. You've made a bunch of money overnight while you're asleep. You can just jet off on a plane somewhere if you want, just because you feel like it. You don't have bills to worry about. You don't have those kind of things bogging you down and making you worry or have sleepless nights over them. And you can just go and do all the things that you want to do. That is what life's about. We're here for such a short amount of time as it is. Just make it the best you can. Make it everything that it could possibly be, and have a great life. And honestly, I can tell you from my own experience and from the experience of many others, working online really will give you that. Working in a job, unless you're a CEO or a celebrity, is very likely not going to. And if it does give you that kind of lifestyle, there's a huge, huge price to pay. You're putting in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and probably spending a great deal of time away from your family, maybe missing your kids' first steps, maybe like people I know who are, well, actually someone I know in particular who I'm related to is an engineer, and he's missed so much of his family. He's missed his daughter's first steps because he was sent off on a business trip abroad, and things like that. He's missed so much. So this is the way of the future. It really is. Working online is the way of the future. This is why you see so many people doing it. This is why you see so many people now, and such a huge surge in make money online groups and things like that on the internet. More and more people are jumping on board this, because if you've got a laptop and you've got an internet connection, whether it's a little dongle or Wi-Fi, whatever, you can do this from absolutely anywhere in the world. You can do this from the beach. You can do this from a really nice hotel. You can even do this on an aeroplane. And it's so worth it. It's absolutely so worth it. So really, that's all I want to say for this video. If anything I've said strikes a chord in you and you want to get started and make money online, we have something that can definitely help you with that. But you've got to want to make that transition. You've got to want it. You've got to be sick and tired of your life in your work life, and or just need extra money or something. You're struggling to pay bills. I know many people working full-time and they still struggle to pay their bills, and to me there's something very wrong about that. If you're working full-time, and quite often you'll have a couple and they're both working full-time and still struggling, it's crazy. You shouldn't be doing all these hours and still be struggling. So if you want to change that, then you can absolutely change that at any point in your life. And hopefully this video has helped. Feel free to click on the link below. Feel free to subscribe, watch some of our other videos. We show how we've done that and how we've changed. I mean, I used to work in a full-time job. I actually used to work in a residential home looking after people with severe dementia. Very, very physically and mentally demanding job. I've also worked for local government, so I don't regret leaving either industry. I'm very glad to get up in the morning and not have that feeling of dread. Oh my gosh, I've got a 12-hour shift at this place and it's chucking it down with the rain outside and it's cold and I'm tired because I maybe didn't sleep that well the night before, and if at all, because of worrying about money or whatever. It's not a good position to be in, and I know there are people that can relate to that. I know many people that can relate to that. So it's never too late to change your life. That's really all I want to say. Anyway, take care. Have a great Monday the 27th of February 2017. Make this the best year ever. What you do today will affect where you're at in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. And it's never ever too late to make that change. I don't regret at all doing so myself, and I would never want to go back to being where I was at 2 years ago. So anyway, take care, have a great day, and speak to you next time.